We are ready for Stefan, and for the sake of the new audience, so right off the bat, out of the gate, maybe we could drop the website, Stefan, and where we could pick up this new online course that we are going to be discussing today in regards to forming communities. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, Eric. So I have a new website up. It's called Forming Communities, one word, formingcommunities.com. And it will have most of the information about my new online course, which I created with the assistance of the University of Reason, which is run by Richard Grove of Tragedy and Hope fame. And this course is, 40 lessons.
Okay.
And so it's a big, long professional course. But what it's meant to do is, because, listen, I think we've talked about it briefly along the circumference of this subject a few times before, but the need to form communities, the need for us all to work together to face the collapse of our civilization. But the problem is people don't know how. They don't know how, Eric. They don't have the skills. Yeah, okay, let's form a community. Okay, and now what? So... And everything just sort of stalls at that point. How do I begin? Who do I talk to? How do we get it organized? What should we do? And, well, listen, I know it's hard. People don't know that. We've been subjected to the mindless idiocy of public education now for 100 years. People come out of school and out of college, and they can't do anything. They can't light up. They can't pump up a bicycle tire. I've seen it with my own eyes. 40-year-old men looking at me with bewilderment in their eyes when I hand them a bicycle pump. What's this? You got a flat tire? Oh, is that what's wrong with my bike? Yeah, that's what's wrong with your bike. It's got a flat tire. You use this. Well, how do I use this? I mean, come on. We've got 40-year-old men that can't pump up a bicycle tire. And now we expect them to form a parallel society.
Right. Yeah, it's scary, huh?
A parallel society to fight the New World Order. To survive the complete apocalypse.
Right.
Yeah, not going to happen, folks. So what I've tried to do, and in my upcoming book of the same name, The Complete Guide to Forming Communities, what I've done is with the online course, I read basically and talk about excerpts from all of the chapters, just the stuff that you need to know, the meat. The book will carry out all the little details, and there's lots and lots and lots of little details. And my intention is that you buy the course, you get 2 or 3 or 4 other people, you sit down and you watch it 1 hour at a time, and after each hour you pause the downstream, the download, and you discuss it, you talk about it. What should we do? What do you think? How would that work? Can we do this? And by the end of the course, if you can get 4 people to sit through that course with you and discuss all the items, by the end of the course, you will have a really good idea of what you need to do and how to get started forming your own, independent, autonomous community. But I can't imagine. I don't know anybody that could walk into a room, sit down, and say, "Okay, this is how we're going to do things." I don't know anybody can do that. I can do that, but then I've been working on this for a long, long time, and I've had a lot of experience with it, working into the communities. I mean, I was so successful as a community organizer. The Prime Minister of Canada wanted to meet me, and I was only 18 at the time. So if an 18-year-old high school dropout can work within the community and create so many positive organizations and events and services that the Prime Minister of the country wants to meet you, then, that's what we need to do to build communities, So I've got this experience, but I gotta be honest with you, I don't know people that can do that. So the only way to survive what's coming is to form communities, a parallel society, independent, autonomous, mutually cooperative communities. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be 3 people, it can be 5 people, and but if you have 3 and 5 member communities spread throughout the country, and we all communicate with each other, cooperate with each other, barter with each other, lend moral support to each other, and maybe a couple of times a year you get together at a local campground and have a weekend and play guitar and sit around the fire and discuss things. If we can do that, we can not only survive what's coming, but we can defeat the New World Order, because that's what they fear. They fear that we should somehow figure it out, that if we work together in unison and support each other, we can overthrow these sons of bitches. And we can.
Yeah. Now, in regards to the flow, I think you said 40 lessons there, and you mentioned a few of them. Obviously, food co-op, homeschooling, a few of those. Maybe we can tackle, I don't know, top 3 or top 5, whatever you think we could squeeze in for 25 minutes, like specific areas that we can really kind of break down. I mean, one of the questions that does come to mind right off of the bat, and I think we've talked about this in podcasts past, but we'll sort of rehash that, kind of weeding out the bad apples or identifying potential moles, even because I know you were talking about that when I mentioned to you that we're trying to get like a Catholic military order together, and then you were kind of warning about it, like not getting too big, and like I totally understand that. But like how can we weed out the bad apples, kind of leaving, remember back in the good old days with like high school or whatever, and like the last person to get picked for the kickball team or whatever, and you didn't want to take the last kid, for the kickball team or whatever. How do we leave that last person out while not causing too much attention to ourselves?
Listen, that's always going to be a very tricky thing to do, is to be able to weed out the bad people. It's actually, but I'm going to take the reverse course on that. I'm going to assume that everybody is the bad person. I mean, finding a good person is like finding a needle in the haystack. There are so few really competent, good, decent people left. So it's not a matter of weeding out all the bad people. It's finding the good people. And the rest, just, weed them out, because I've seen it now. That's why, audience members listening, Eric said, "How you doing, Stefan?" I said, "Well, I'm more black-pilled than ever." The reason I'm black-pilled is because I live in a desert of human compassion, human caring.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see nice people anymore. When I was young, you could, the grocery clerk was nice to you. The old man playing chess in the park was nice, and the mother down the street, she was nice, and I don't see it anymore. I don't see nice people anymore. I don't see good people. Maybe it's because I live in Canada. I suspect that's a big part of the reason. Canadians are awful, awful people. Don't believe all that politeness. The politeness is because I'm too afraid to do anything, so I'm just going to be really polite. You could be on fire, rolling on the ground, and a Canadian will walk by and go, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I won't stop to piss on you." So no, it's just a false. It's because they're a bunch of bootlickers and cowards, and that's why they're polite, not because some great. But I can't see any, Eric. I go out, I put myself out there all the time with the radio shows and trying to meet people. But I'm a little bit black-pilled. But that's why I say it's not so important now to weed out the bad people. Everybody's bad. So just look now for the shining lights, the diamonds in the rough. Those people that are good. And you're going to have to be very observant to try and find them. But when you find them, then approach those people and get together with them. And what I tell people in the course and in the book, you need to start off with just 3 people, you and 2 other people. Now, can you find 2 other people? Now, I know, one of the common comments I get on my videos when I'm talking about community is everybody's saying the same thing. They're all saying, yeah, it would work, but people are such a-holes. Nobody can work together. I can't find anybody to cooperate on a goddamn thing. Yeah, I get it. I know. I'm there too. But let's assume that there is 1 or 2% of the population that are like us, patriots, moral, virtuous, brave, with critical thinking, with actual real life skills, with the ability to give and contribute to a society. Let's say there's like 2% of us out there. That still means there's 6 million people in the United States like us. We just got to find them now. 6 million people spread throughout the entire United States. It's you're going to have to run through 100 people before you find one of them, right? Or run through 100 people before you find 2 or 3 of them. But then you got to run through those 100 people. You have to seek them out and approach them, and let's get together on this. Because look, I was saying just the other day, there is no other solution, Eric. There is no other solution. We can't vote the bastards out. Doesn't make any difference. You can vote all you want. You can't protest, and that's going to change anything. We've seen this now for 20 years since 9/11. People protested every, Middle East action and every this, that, and the other. We had hundreds, thousands, millions of people protesting. Didn't change a damn thing. And there's certainly no way that we can militarily take on the government. Forget about that. First of all, we don't have any military leaders. Who do you know in your community that's, an ex-veteran, an ex-Navy SEAL that is willing to organize a fire team and, launch an ambush on government? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're not going to win. And I said, then the final thing, like the only other way to survive this is if you go lone wolf, you become a mountain man. You run up into the Rocky Mountains way up far where nobody can find you, and you just sit there in your little cave, freeze your butt off, and eat skunk every day, That's it. So what else do we have? Or we submit, we take our Kool-Aid, and we die of a horrible disease next year, and they steal all our money and enslave our children, and there you go. That's it. So what is the only solution? The only solution is to form parallel societies, micro communities. I'm calling them micro, 3 to 5 to 10 families, work together, support each other. And those families, and again, once you've got your little community, you link up with other little communities. It becomes like a fractal, right? So I've got my 25 people. We're working together. We're doing the best we can. We're trying to stay alive and rebuild society in a better way once the psychopaths finish destroying themselves and the rest of us. But then we can cooperate with other people. We'll set up communications. We'll use ham radios. We'll have our own frequencies. We'll stay in touch. We'll have daily reports. If we need to barter, we can barter with each other. We can set up black markets. We can set up underground railroads, which is, I started talking about underground railroads a couple of years ago. And right now, guess what? Look at all the people that are sneaking out of the country, and they need help to get out. And when they get to where they're going, they need people there to meet them, to get them integrated into that new country and things like that. We got literally like an underground railroad going on right now. So we need to do that for ourselves, and we can. And if we do, we'll survive. If we don't, you'll either die or you'll become, you'll have the brain implant with Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates broadcasting directly into your brain.
Mm-hmm. That's it, yeah. 666 radio station, right? Yeah, it's crazy times. Now, in regards to how long the course will take, is it a matter of like one lesson a day? Like you go at your own pace? Like how's that structured?
Well, you go at your own pace, right? So you buy the course and you can download as much as you want at one time, or you can, space it out for yourself, up to you. So I know I spoke for about 16 hours, and that includes like a question and answer period, because I presented the course in front of a beta class, 25 people that went through the course with me. And then at the end of each lesson, they had, a question and answer period for another half hour. And I cover a lot of the things that are in the book that you will get free PDF download free once you sign up for the course and once the book is done. You get my book, The Art of Urban Survival, for free the minute you sign up. And then you take the course, and I hope in 2 weeks the book will be out, and then you'll be emailed the link to where you can download the PDF for the course. Now, the book is more technical, but it's the things you need to know: how to write a mission statement, what's a charter, how to incorporate, how to form a cooperative, how to run meetings, meeting protocols, how to vote on motions and create rules and bylaws that you can, everybody, you need those things. If you don't have those things, everything becomes chaos. And I can tell you, I've been in touch with many of these, freedom cell groups and autonomy groups and things like that, and with the members, and they went to the meetings, and I said, well, what went on? Well, nothing went on. There was a lot of yippity-yap. Everybody had a very strong opinion about this and that, and then it turned into bickering and infighting, and then the whole thing fell apart. Well, because you don't have meeting protocols. You have to agree there's a certain decorum you must follow when you're in a public meeting. And calling somebody else a stupid idiot is not part of the protocols. You can't resort to slander and straw man arguments and insulting people. The minute you do that, the minute one person starts insulting other people within the community, it all falls apart. So now, unbelievably, that you have to write this up into a meeting protocol document, which is in the book, because we have lost the ability to be polite and
I agree.
Right? Now, if everybody was naturally polite, there would be no need for this meeting protocol sheet. I think it's about 3 pages. This is how we're going to run the meetings. And then there's a chair. We have to vote a chair at the beginning of every meeting. Who wants to be the chairman, chairperson, chairwoman? And, and then we do things like, or you can do things like when the elders, Aboriginal elders, get together and they pass around the peace pipe. I know a couple of communities that do this. They pass around the peace pipe, and whoever's got the peace pipe, they can speak. And everybody else just has to shut up for a minute. And then the peace pipe is passed to the next person, and then they can speak. Things like that. Or otherwise, everybody's talking over each other and arguing. And look, we need to take this really seriously. There's reasons why you need rules and regulations within a community, and that's so that everyone is on the same page and understands what's going on. If you can't get that much together, then forget about creating a parallel society. Are you kidding me? Like I said, most of them can't even pump up a bicycle tire. How are you going to create a parallel society? But it's all in the book. I talk about it in the course. But in the course also, because it's more free form, I get to talk about, other things. I can't even remember all the crap I said. But
I can imagine. Yeah, it's long. It's lengthy, yeah.
Yeah, but it's outside of what's in the book, because I know you're going to get the book anyway. So if you really need a specific question about the pros and cons between an incorporation and an unincorporated association and why you should do one over the other, that'll be in the book. I touch on it briefly in the course, but if you need to dive into it, it'll be in the book. But so I get to talk about a lot of different things, like, using a cover story for your community. It's in the book, but I go into more detail in the course on it. For example, I was in touch with some guys. Oh, we're going to form a militia. Oh, great. Okay. And what are you calling it? Well, the Patriot Freedom Fighters of America. I said, good luck with that, because that kind of a name is going to attract every FBI undercover agent within 500 miles come over to your place and infiltrate that group. As a matter of fact, the very name Freedom Fighters of America, I would immediately assume that it's a psyop created by the FBI as an entrapment scheme. I wouldn't join any group called Freedom Patriot Fighters of America. It's got to be set up by the FBI. I wouldn't trust it. I just wouldn't trust it. So I said, if you are serious about setting up like a militia or something like that, call it Aunt Betty's Sewing Club. So that we talk about that.
Yeah.
Listen, let's get one thing straight. Government does not want you to form a community. Trust me, they have done everything in their power to destroy our ability to work together. Public education is a classic example of their efforts to destroy our abilities to form communities, and also all the tearing down of these statues and rewriting history books to make it look like, Antimont invented the wheel. You know, all of this is designed to destroy our culture and our history and our traditions. And we need culture, history, and traditions in order to have a community. So another part of this plan will be to include, we need our own symbology. We need our own mythology. We need our own secret hand signals. We need our own anthems, our own songs, our own symbolism, our own models, our own logos, our own graphics, because that's what people bond to. If you don't have a history and you don't have a culture that you share, then you're just a bunch of individuals with no connection, and they'll never cooperate. That's why they've destroyed our history. That's why they've destroyed our culture. They don't want us to work together. And they know if they can get rid of our traditions and our history and our culture, that we would then be helpless to fight against them. So, yeah, that's part of the book.
Yeah, good stuff. Now, again, the website, Stefan, if we could, in regards to where they can pick up the online course. I know you got a whole bunch of other stuff, too, as well. It's not just this, of course. And then what would you say is is there like the most important chapter of the book? I mean, I realize to some degree all of them are important, but is there sort of like one chapter that you would stress more than the others?
Sure. The website is formingcommunities.com. The best chapter in the book is the last chapter. And I got to be honest with you that the book is actually a bit of it has a bit of an ulterior purpose. I start off with the simplest types of communities you can form, such as a check-in club. We've talked about that, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. Where, once a day, once every 2 days, once a week, you phone and speak for 10 minutes to somebody that that is living alone and isolated. They may be invalid. They may have medical problems. They can't get out. Nobody comes to see them. They're all by themselves. Nobody looks after them. Nobody gives them, cares about them. They're alone and depressed and suicidal. And if you were to spend, 10 minutes, once every couple of days, just call them up. Hey, Betty, how's things going? Everything okay? Do you have enough food in the house? What's the weather like over there? Just that short little phone call makes a big difference to people. So we start off with something simple like that. You don't have to incorporate. You don't need a mission statement. You don't need a charter. All you need is, 2 or 3 people, a dozen people that agree, look, these are the people that live alone. They're isolated. They're lonely. And let's take turns calling them. That's it. That's all you have to do. So there's your first community. And then the book progresses into more and more complex communities. Mid-range would be a homeschooling co-op, which is, I think, vital in our day and age. Look what the public school, the filth that they are teaching in public schools. I can't believe that stuff. When I was a kid, pornography was illegal in Canada. You couldn't buy it.
I didn't know that. Wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah. There was no dirty books in Canada when I was a kid. Not even in the dirty bookstore. We didn't have dirty bookstores. We didn't have dirty movie theaters. There was none of that stuff. Also on Sundays, everything was closed. Even pharmacies.
Wow.
On pharmacies, gas stations, nothing was open on Sundays. Everything was locked down. And there was no way you can get any. And then you see what they're teaching in the schools. Oh, my God. If that was, in 1965, here in Canada, the RCMP would be on them and they'd all be arrested and charged for being perverts. So you got to get your kids out of school, and you need through homeschooling. So then, another chapter is on how to set that up. How to set it up, a homeschooling network. You, 2 other families, 3 other families. That's all you need That's all you need. And, you can run the classes out of the church basement, or you can get a room at the library. And if you all kick in $50 a week, well, then you can hire your own teacher if you want. There's going to be a lot of unemployed teachers because they're refusing
True.
to take Kool-Aid. And
Mm-hmm.
if you pay them some cash under the table and come in twice a week and teach the class, and the rest of the time the parents take turns teaching the class, uh, you're saving your children's lives. I mean, sending them to school is abuse. So the types of communities you form become a little bit more complex as we continue through the book. So I'm trying to make it easy for you. You start off, okay, this is an easy community. We can do this. We can do a support group. All we do is we meet once a week and we talk about our addictions. A very helpful program. A lot of people benefit from a support group. Very easy to set up. Okay, there's some meeting protocols. Okay, there's some guidelines to running these meetings, but very helpful for people. But again, it's not complex. But the most important chapter, I would say, is the last chapter, which is called Survivalist Communities. Now, by a survivalist community, I mean that you have a group of people together, and the purpose of your community is to be able to supply all the services and needs you will need coming up when civilization collapses. So the prediction for when civilization collapses is, number one, no hospitals. Already we see this. I mean, it's very hard to get a doctor. It's very hard to get into the hospital. And who would want to go to a hospital anyways? They're going to kill you. I told him, I feel sick. I feel sick. I should go to the emergency. I said, don't go there. First thing they'll do is diagnose you with cooties, and then they'll force some Kool-Aid into your butt, and then you'll die. So don't go to the hospital. Even, and as we've seen with the current medical crisis, I have lost all faith in doctors and nurses because, listen, I can tell I knew this already 2 years ago, even before it started. I knew all of this cooties and Kool-Aid stuff was total bullshit. I knew it was a hoax. It was a fake. It was a false flag. I could figure this out. So are you telling me that all these doctors couldn't figure it out? Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of doctors. Now, true, we've had many speak out. There's been about, 50, maybe 100 doctors that have spoken out. But why isn't every doctor speaking out? Now, either they are in on it or they're too cowardly to speak out on it because they know any doctor that speaks out about this, their medical license is pulled right away. So they're too worried about losing their income. And, on one hand, I don't blame them. They spent 10 years learning this crap and invested at least $250,000. And they don't want to throw that all away because they're going to speak the truth. But they're killing people. So either they're in on it and they know about it and they're too cowardly to say anything, or they're too stupid to figure it out. And either way, whichever it is, I don't trust you. Why would I trust you? You don't have my best interests at heart, or otherwise you would be informing all your patients, don't take the damn Kool-Aid. It's all a hoax. But they're not doing that. So I can't trust the medical profession. So now a survivalist community, part of their modus or part of the purpose is to start to create our own medical services. So you're going to have to, kick in money every month, just like a fraternal organization, just like membership fees at the golf club. Oh my God, if I get 10 people to pay me what they pay for a golf membership, $50,000 a year, what I could do with $500,000, yeah, I could build my own clinic. Okay, thank you very much. It might just be renting a small room in one of the strip malls or in a warehouse space and hiring a doctor and buying some equipment, and the doctor comes in twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and everybody in my community can go get free health care.
Yeah, buddy, I know. Wow, fantastic. Let's do a final shout out again to the website, and let's throw some other plugs for some of the other stuff too, because I know you got quite a bit of material that people can gain access to outside of this latest endeavor. Let's do that, and we thank you again for joining the show.
Yeah, well, thanks, Eric. But anyways, folks, so the ultimate goal is that we become completely self-sufficient. We take care of everything ourselves, our own medicine, our own food, our own security, our own communications, our own education. We got to do all of that because that's going anyways. And besides, it's shit now as it is. But that's the last chapter, how to do that. And you exercise your muscles with the other types of communities. They're easier to do. You get used to it. You start to exercise your social skills. And then we move into the final phase of the book, which is our community is now completely self-reliant and autonomous. We don't need no one. We're doing everything ourselves. So that's the final chapter. Anyways, other items everybody should have by now. If you don't, then you're really missing out. Get my survival library. It's all my books plus 300 additional PDF books. Instant download. You go to PayPal. You sign up. You pay your money. You get a link, and then you can download all these books right away. And those books are divided up into 5 categories: medicine, shelter, food and nutrition, communications, security. And it's got books, everything from farming to hunting to fishing to building solar generators to wilderness herbs to raising chickens. It's got everything. So if because one man can't do all this, and I'm a pretty smart guy, but oh my God, I need these books too, because I don't know all that stuff. But if we are going through a complete collapse, you're going to need a wide variety of information. And we can't assume that the internet and the electrical grid is going to be here so that we can just Google it when we need it. No, download all these books, store it on a flash drive, and then when the power goes out, you can read it on a tablet. And it's going to save your life.
Good stuff, buddy. Always appreciate the time. That's Stefan Verstappen, folks. We've got to get ready for Charlie Robinson from the Macroaggressions podcast now. Until next time, my good friends, stay safe and God bless.